Dear students, welcome to this lecture number 2 of unit number 3 reaction water turbines of our subject turbo machines. In this we will discuss the velocity triangles, the work done and efficiencies of a Francis turbine runner. In our last lecture, that was the lecture number 1 of unit number 3, we have seen the introduction of a reaction turbines as well as the construction and working of a Francis turbine, which is the famous radial flow type of a mixed flow type of a reaction turbine. Now in this lecture we will discuss the velocity triangles and the analysis of a same Francis turbine. Okay, so this is our slide number 1. Which is a net head at the entry of a reaction turbine runner. So here you can see the general layout of a hydroelectric plant, okay, with reaction turbine installation. So this is our reaction turbine installed at a lower elevation, lower altitude, and this is the dam constructed to form a reservoir of a water. So this is the level of water that is known as headdress, okay, and this level of water is extended like this by means of this dashed line. Then this water is taken down through the penstock pipe. It is a conduit called penstock. This is the inlet of a Francis turbine runner or a reaction turbine runner, and this is the installation of a reaction turbine which is coupled to the generator. After the water works on the turbine, it is discharged to the tail rest side by means of a draft tube. So this is the diverging draft tube. Okay. Now, so this is our tail rest level. Tail rest water level is the water level at the discharge side of the turbine. Now, Hg represents the gross head, and it is nothing but difference of water levels between headdress and tail rest. So this is tail rest over here and headdress. So gross head is the difference of water levels between the headdress and tail rest. So this total height is known as gross head. Hf represents the loss of head in the penstock. Now when the water flows through the penstock pipe, the water is going to face the frictional resistance, right, a major loss which is known as a major energy loss due to the internal surface of the penstock, as well as there could be some pipe fittings which will offer minor energy losses. So Hf represents the total loss of head in the penstock, and it is not only the major loss. Okay, so Hf is represented here, is shown here. This is Hf, right? This inclined line represents the energy line, is known as energy line or total energy line, and it is sloping down towards right. Okay, why it is sloping down towards right? Because the energy or total energy of the fluid goes on reducing as the water flows through the penstock. So Hf is the loss of head in the penstock. Then capital H represents net head. Okay, and it is nothing but, we have seen in our discussion on Pelton turbine, it is nothing but gross head minus head loss in the penstock, loss of head in the penstock. So Hg minus Hf, right, that is net head. The net head is also called available head or working head or operational head, or it is simply known as effective head for the turbine, right? These are multiple names for the net head. It is the available head, it is the working head, it is operational head or effective head over the turbine. For a reaction turbine, that is the encased type of turbine, net head is also written as net head capital H is equal to P1 by gamma plus V1 square by 2G plus Z1. So these are pressure head plus kinetic head plus datum head, and subscript 1 represents at the inlet of the turbine. So here at the inlet of a turbine, these are defined. So this is datum head Z1, this is pressure head P1 upon gamma, and this is V1 square by 2G as a kinetic head at the inlet of a turbine, minus datum head Z2 plus kinetic head V2 square by 2G. This is at the tail rest level. So Z2 is the datum head for tail rest water level, and V2 square by 2G is nothing but the kinetic head of a water leaving the trough tube. So difference of these two also gives you the net head over the reaction turbine runner. Okay, this formula is very important in solving the numericals. Some typical complicated numericals can be solved using this formula of a reaction water turbine. Next is having discussed the net head concept, now we come to the velocity triangle. Now velocity triangle of a reaction turbine, that is a Francis turbine, is something like this. We know Francis turbine is a mixed flow type of a turbine. It has a radial entry of a water at the outer periphery of a runner, and water exits out axially at the center, so at the axis of the runner. So radial entry and axial outlet. But this diagram shows the runner and the velocity diagrams at inlet outlet for an inward radial flow reaction turbine, right? This is not axial outlet, this is radial outlet only. So radial inlet and radial outlet. So it means inward radial flow, pure radial flow reaction turbine, and this we will use as a velocity triangles for our Francis turbine, which is a modern Francis turbine. So this is outer periphery of a wheel with the radius R1. This is inner periphery of a wheel with the radius R2, and there are radial curved vents installed in between these, right? This is the inlet tip of a one vane, this is outlet tip of this vane under consideration. This is the tangent at the inlet tip, that is point B. So this is tangent to the wheel at inlet tip. This is tangent at B dash, that is outlet tip, but it is tangent to the wheel and not to the vane, right? This is not a tangent to the vane. These are tangents to the wheel peripheries, outer periphery and inner periphery. Then the procedure to draw the velocity triangle at inlet is the same what we studied in unit number 1. Okay, entry of water tangentially on unsymmetrical curved vane, the same procedure. So all these notations are same, I am not repeating this. Similarly, the velocity triangle at the outlet will be like this, right? VR1 is the velocity with which the water will enter over the vane. So VR1 is the relative velocity at inlet, and VR1 is always tangential to the vane at the inlet tip. So it is tangential like this. Similarly, VR2 will be tangential to the vane at the outlet tip. So this is VR2. Okay, relative velocity at outlet. Now if suppose the wheel is rotating in anti-clockwise direction, then we plot U1. U1 is a peripheral velocity, circumferential velocity at inlet. So this vector is drawn like this. First you draw VR1 as a tangent to the vane, and then U1 as a horizontal line. Okay, because it is tangent to the wheel. Then you join this point with this point, A with point B, that gives you absolute velocity V1 at the inlet. So AB is absolute velocity, right? Then we have two components of V1 as VF1 and VW1, right? VW1 is the component of V1 in the direction of rotation, right? Means in the tangential direction. and Vf1 is the component of V1 normal to the tangential direction. Vw1 is known as whirl velocity of jet at inlet. Vf1 is known as flow velocity of jet at the inlet. Similarly, after drawing Vr2, you have to draw U2. Okay, U2 is peripheral velocity of the vane at the outlet, and this is tangent. This is parallel to this tangent, right? Because the peripheral velocity will be tangent to the wheel periphery at the outlet, that is inner periphery, that is U2. Then join this point B dash with point A dash. This gives you absolute velocity V2 at the outlet. Then the two components of V2 are Vf2, this is Vf2, and this one is Vw2. Okay, this is whirl component in the direction of, in the tangential direction to the inner periphery, and Vf2 is flow component normal to the tangential direction at the inner periphery. Then we know very well relative velocity Vr1 will make angle theta with the tangent to the wheel at the inlet. V1 will make angle alpha with the tangent to the wheel at the inlet, right? Theta is also known as vane angle at inlet. Alpha is also known as guide blade angle at the inlet. Okay, V1 is the velocity of a water supplied by the guide vane, so that's why it is known as guide blade angle, alpha. Vr2 will make angle phi with the tangent to the wheel at the outlet, means inner periphery, so it is nothing but phi as a vane angle at outlet. V2 will make angle beta with the tangent at the outlet, means inner periphery, and beta is nothing but angle made by absolute velocity V2 at the outlet, right? So these four angles theta, phi and alpha, beta are with respect to the tangents to the wheels at the inlet, means outer periphery, and outlet, means inner periphery. Having said all this, let us see if D1 and D2 represents the outer diameter and inner diameter. Outer means inlet diameter, inner diameter means outlet diameter. And if the wheel has n rpm as a rotating speed, then U1 is peripheral velocity of vane at inlet. So that is nothing but pi d1n by 60. U2 is peripheral velocity of vane at outlet. So that is nothing but pi d2n upon 60. So this formula is written by the basic formula r into omega. So omega is constant here. So U1 is equal to R1 into omega, U2 is equal to R2 into omega. So you can note here for Francis turbine, U1 is not equal to U2. Okay, this is very important. Unlike Pelton turbine where U1 is always equal to U2. In a Francis turbine, U1 and U2 are different because the radius are different at inlet and outlet tips of the vents. Now, the general expression for the work done per second by the water on the runner, that is runner power, is written according to Euler's momentum equation, which is already derived in our unit number 1 in the case of a series of radial curved vents. So the derived formula is m dot into bracket Vw1 U1 plus minus Vw2 U2. M dot is nothing but mass flow rate, so that is rho a V1. Why V1? Because it is a case of a series of radial curved vents and not a single moving vane. So that's why rho a V1, absolute velocity V1 into Vw1 U1 plus minus Vw2 U2. This is generalized expression of work done by the water on the runner, where a V1 is nothing but discharge rate through the runner with the plus minus sign. Now the work done per second per unit weight of the water per second can be written as work done per second divided by weight of water striking the runner per second. Now weight of water striking is nothing but mass flow rate of water into gravitational acceleration. So m dot into g. M dot is nothing but rho into q into g. So rho q cancels. This rho q will cancel with this one. So we have formula 1 by g Vw1 U1 plus minus Vw2 U2. Right? The unit of this formula is Newton meter per Newton. So that is nothing but meter. Okay, Newton meter per Newton, work done per second per unit weight of water per second. This above expression A is known as Euler's momentum equation, which is the fundamental equation of hydrodynamic machines, right? Euler's momentum equation, a fundamental equation of all hydrodynamic machines. Now, what do you mean by fundamental equation? So, this equation is extensively used in fluid power engineering. It helps in the determination of torque or the power exchanged between the water and the runner when water flows through the vane passages, right? That is the use of this fundamental equation to find the torque or the power exchanged between the water and the runner. In case of hydraulic turbines, which are power producing machines, the Euler's equation represents the head utilized in performing the work, that is the head utilized at inlet of a water turbine in performing the mechanical work, right? In case of the pumps or compressors, which are power consuming machines, the Euler's equation represents the head imparted to the fluid by the rotating vanes, right? Head imparted by the impeller of a pump to the rotating to the fluid by the rotating vanes. Now, as usual, we have a note: if beta angle is less than 90 degree acute angle, then we will have positive sign in that work done formula. If beta is more than 90 degree, there will be a negative sign, right? Because VW2 will be opposite. If beta is equal to 90 degree, then VW2 becomes 0 and V2 is minimum. Why minimum? Absolute velocity at outlet V2 is minimum because at discharge side, at the outlet side, it will be radial along the radius. So V2 is radial and the work output is maximum for a Francis turbine, right? This is very important. If beta is equal to 90 degree, absolute velocity is minimum. It means it is along the radius, VW2 component is 0 and the work output for a Francis turner will be maximum. This is used in numericals. Next is concept of hydraulic efficiency and other two efficiencies. So, this formula of hydraulic efficiency and all the efficiency remains same for all hydraulic turbines. Hydraulic efficiency is nothing but it is a ratio of power developed by the runner to the power supplied to the turbine at the inlet. Now, power supplied to the Francis runner at the inlet is nothing but water power, right? So, input power supplied to the turbine is given by water power by a formula rho g QH or gamma QH, where W here represents specific weight of the fluid. In case of a Pelton turbine, this denominator is replaced by kinetic energy supplied by the water jet produced by the nozzle at the inlet of the turbine. Okay, in case of reaction turbines, there is no use of a nozzle. So that's why that kinetic energy term is replaced by water power term, and the formula of water power is rho g QH. So divide this is numerator, rate work done on the runner per second divided by power supplied at the inlet as a water power. If you simplify this, we get VW1 U1 upon GH as a hydraulic efficiency. Or if the velocity of whirl at exit is not 0, then we have eta H is equal to VW1 U1 plus minus VW2 U2 upon GH. The range of hydraulic efficiency is 85 to 90% for a Francis turbine. Next is mechanical efficiency. The basic formula remains same. It is a ratio of shaft power available at the turbine runner, Francis turbine runner, divided by power developed by the runner as the water does work on the runner. Okay, shaft power divided by runner power. Overall efficiency is the ratio of a shaft power This is power, shaft power at the outlet divided by water power at the inlet. So this is shaft power divided by water power, gamma QH. So it is nothing but it is a product of hydraulic efficiency into mechanical efficiency. Overall efficiency is hydraulic efficiency into mechanical efficiency. Here in the reaction turbines, there is no concept of a volumetric efficiency, right? So we don't define volumetric efficiency as such in a reaction water turbines, right? The range of overall efficiency is around 80 to 90% in case of a Francis turbine. Okay, thank you.